Hey gorgeous soul, I'm Zoe and welcome to the Oasis State podcast, a space where we decode life's mysteries and embrace the what the fuck moments that make it magical. Let this podcast be your trusted companion on your wild journey of transformation, healing and soul expansion. Together, we'll dive deep, celebrate our technicolor existence and turn life's chaos into pure magic. Oh, hello. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Oasis State podcast. I am your host Zoe and I'm very glad that you are here. Okay, today's topic is how to stop overthinking. And I'm sure I don't need to give a disclaimer about how uncomfortable the experience of overthinking is, because if you've pressed play on this episode, you are either experiencing overthinking or you don't feel like you have the tools to alleviate experiences of overthinking. So I'm sure you have experienced the discomfort. And just a reminder that there's nothing wrong with your experience of overthinking. Sometimes we need to experience the discomfort, and the discomfort of overthinking needs to get strong enough for us to actually feel motivated to do something about it. So that's the first message coming through for this episode is if you are experiencing overthinking or just wanting more tools to alleviate the experience of overthinking, that's actually something to celebrate. It's something to, celebrate. I'm saying the same thing again, but it's just if you are being proactive with your relationship with overthinking, then that is amazing because there's nothing wrong with the discomfort of overthinking. Like I said, sometimes we need that motivation. Things need to tip far enough into the experience of feeling uncomfortable to motivate us to elevate or evolve into a higher expression of ourselves. So there's nothing wrong with overthinking. It's just a misunderstood experience, holistic experience. And this podcast is here to help you understand the experience a bit more. So before I get into how to alleviate the experience of overthinking, I want to offer you an analogy that helps me understand the ability for us to detach and move into a place of empowerment to alleviate the experience of overthinking, because that's what it is. It is an experience. It is not us. We are not our minds. It is just an experience. And when we come back to I want to say identify, it's probably not the right word, but I will say it. When we can re-identify with the person and the part of ourselves that is observing our thoughts, then we're coming back to a place of empowerment. And that is basically what, that's a similar experience with the idea or the result that is aimed for in meditation is that we are learning to observe our thoughts as clouds passing by, for example, rather than actually identifying with our thoughts. It's just our mind is a computer and it is here to serve us, the higher part of ourselves, our soul, our higher selves, whatever label you need to put on it. But I'm sure if you've pressed play on this episode or by the end of this episode, you will understand that we have a deeper, higher, more pure part of ourselves, that the more that we're identifying with that, the more that we can come into a space of empowerment and alignment. And we realize that we are not our minds, we are not our egos, and we are not our thoughts. They are simply a computer. And if let's actually analogy on top of analogy, if you are experiencing a pattern of overthinking right now, just think of it like your mind is a computer and you just need to pump some antivirus software through the computer system to get it back on track. It's like we turn our laptops on and off to, let them reset, or we do the updates on our phone to have them working at optimal capacity. So just like that, our minds are a computer and they need refreshing, and we need to be making sure that we're updating and evolving our relationship with this higher version of ourselves so that we can pivot the relationship with our minds and not identify with our thoughts. So I suppose that's the first take-home message, is just realize that we are not our minds. Our mind is the servant. Our mind is the computer, and it is up to our relationship and our connection with our higher selves to program the computer to work optimally. So programming our minds to work optimally. So the first analogy that I want to, that was sort of an analogy, but another viewpoint that I would like to offer you guys to help you alleviate your relationship with overthinking is to think about your experience of overthinking is you sitting in a cinema watching a horror film play out. Because as I mentioned, when we're overthinking, pretty much 99% of those thoughts will be limiting, they will be negative, and they will be unconstructive. It's literally just noise. It's head noise, and it's because I can get into why we're overthinking in a moment. But when you're in the experience of overthinking, you are in a cinema watching a movie, and it's not just any old movie, it's a fucking horror film. And that is the analogy for the discomfort that you're experiencing when you're overthinking. It's the same as when you're sitting in a movie theater watching a really uncomfortable scene or a really scary scene in a movie, and you're just like, what the fuck? This is so uncomfortable. This is so scary. I don't like this. And and the whole point behind this analogy is that you're in an experience and a disempowered vibration right now where you think that you are in that movie right now that's playing out on the screen in the cinema. You think you are in that movie, but by providing this analogy for you, I hope that you can start to connect to the fact that you are actually the person that's sitting in the cinema watching that movie play out, which again is detaching from your mind and detaching from your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are the movie. They're the computer. Like, take whatever analogy resonates with you. But this whole point of me starting this episode like this is to help you detach from your mind, detach from your thoughts. You are not the horror film. You are not the main character in this horror film that is playing out in that cinema. You are the guest in the cinema watching that movie play out. And I've used this analogy on other episodes, but I've had this podcast for a few years, so I think it was on one of the way earlier episodes. But it's really important to sort of circle back to this analogy because I believe it's a very strong one. So in your experience of overthinking, you now realize that you are sitting in a cinema watching a horror movie play out. If this was you in real life, which it is an analogy for you in real life, if you were watching a movie that was so uncomfortable to you and causing you so much fear and so much discomfort, would you stay in that cinema? Would you keep watching the whole movie? Or would you learn that you have the power to get up and walk out of that cinema and walk out into the sunshine and into the real life experience and feel the breeze on your skin and smile and look at your friends and realize that was just a temporary experience in that horror movie cinema. And the part of you, the version of you that is getting up and walking out of that discomfort, that version of you in the cinema, that is your higher self. And when you can connect to your higher self, and that's, we can call it your soul, we can call it your heart. Like, there's a lot of labels that people put on this, but you will know that you are connecting to this higher part of yourself, the part of yourself that's meant to be in the driver's seat of your life, by how you feel. When you're feeling calmer, when you're feeling more empowered, when you're feeling more love and worth for yourself, that means that you are connecting to this part of yourself, the true, pure essence of yourself. So this true, pure essence of yourself has realized, what the fuck am I doing? This movie is making me so uncomfortable. I don't like it. Oh, that's right. I'm a sovereign being. I have the freedom to get up and walk out of this cinema. So that's the analogy of what we're doing when we're alleviating overthinking. So what I realized the other week when I was going through this experience of overthinking was that I was trying to alleviate this overthinking process through awareness and through intellectualizing my thoughts. I was fighting fire with fire, basically. So there is no amount of intellectualizing that we can do or self-awareness that we can have that will alleviate overthinking, because overthinking is actually it's a holistic symptom of you not being comfortable in your body. You're not comfortable in your body and you're not comfortable in the present moment. And the overthinking actually becomes a symptom of not feeling regulated in your body, not feeling safe in your body. So I was walking around fighting fire with fire and trying to intellectualize it. I was, doing all the right things. I'm not, being hard on myself for doing that. But sometimes we need to try a certain amount of things until we find the right thing. And then by finding the right way to alleviate my overthinking, I was like, I've learnt so much along the way. I was like, oh, okay. And then I can come on this episode and be like, hey guys, if you're overthinking, don't try to intellectualize your thoughts because you're just fighting fire with fire. And if you think about it through this way, is you can't solve a problem from the same energy and frequency that the problem was created. So we cannot stop overthinking by continuing to think. Do you know what I mean? But basically, we're not going to stop thinking because, like I said, our brain is a computer. It will always be thinking. But the whole way to alleviate overthinking is practicing this detachment from the thoughts, from the horror movie. And so I'm walking around. I have a bush out the back of mine, and it's like all of these beautiful trails that I can walk. And I was like, all right, I'm getting off technology. I'm going for a walk. And mind you, at this point where I was trying to practice, self-awareness and intellectualizing my thoughts, I was doing all the things that I thought would help me. And like I said, I'm not beating myself up for taking like a few steps. And that's what the self-evolution journey is sometimes you're not going to get it right. We have a whole ecosystem of tools, spiritual tools available to us. And sometimes you're not going to pick up the right tool. Like you might need to be the equivalent of a hammer, but you've got a spanner right now. And that's okay, because say you're working on a car or, building a house, like you're going to use the wrong nail sometimes or use the wrong screwdriver, and that's completely okay. So, and like I said, through the process of me figuring out which tool I needed to use to alleviate my overthinking, I've been able to create a clearer awareness of how to alleviate your overthinking, which is beautiful because I can channel this into my purpose, which is this podcast, and helping other women step back into a place of empowerment and alignment through what I'm learning. So it's like I said, I'm not beating myself up because I've used the wrong tool, because sort of having to pivot through my process of trying to alleviate my overthinking, I've learned a lot. So I'm like, yay, it's a win-win. Obviously, overthinking was still quite an uncomfortable experience, but like I said at the start of the episode, sometimes we need to sit with discomfort to be motivated to keep trying a different holistic tool or a different approach to overthinking. So in the time where I was like, fuck, I need to intellectualize this, like, I think we get stuck in this like limiting belief that to fix my overthinking, I need to get to the root cause. We're being problem focused and we're like, oh, I need the solution. What's the solution? What's the solution to the overthinking? And in that experience and in that vibration of that limiting belief, I was listening to podcasts and listening to YouTube videos and basically just brainwashing my already overstimulated mind with all of this content, which, some of it might have landed, some of it might have really shifted things on like a very subtle subconscious level. But basically I was already so dysregulated that so when we're feeling dysregulated, we need like stillness, we need solitude, we need space to just land. But I was just like trying to throw more programs at an already, virus-filled computer, which was my mind. Hopefully that analogy is staying with you guys, but that's completely fine because it helped me realize that you cannot alleviate overthinking through awareness and through intellectualizing your thoughts, because your experience of overthinking is actually a symptom of you not being in your body, not feeling regulated in your body. And when you're not feeling regulated in your body, which is the master system in our body is our nervous system. So if you're overthinking, you're in a dysregulated nervous system state. And this is how we start alleviating our overthinking, is just not trying to get to the root cause of the overthinking, not trying to get to the bottom, like limiting belief and like shifting it with affirmations. And, that inner work is very important. But if you've gotten your place to such a incessant experience of overthinking, writing down an affirmation will not do shit at that point. You need to come back to realizing that you are a holistic being and regulating your body, getting back into your body. So a way that it can sort of encourage you to understand the importance of coming back into your body you think about, so our head is on our shoulders and our mind and our brains is in our head. So if you are just in your head overthinking and then you're trying to intellectualize your thoughts as the band-aid to fix the thinking, you're only operating out of what? Like our head, our physical head and skull and neck are what? Like 10% of our body. So you're trying to solve a huge dysregulated thing through 10% of your physical being. So when you're coming back into your body, we're trying to bring our awareness back down to lower parts of our body. So if we're coming down to our heart space, we're getting to about 50% of our body. As a woman, we need to come back into our womb and down into our root chakra, which is, again, if you're in a dysregulated state, it's our root chakra is our experience with our material needs and our physical experience, as in like our 3D experience of being a human in a physical meat suit right now. So there'll be root chakra imbalances there, and there'll be blockages, and there'll be wisdom in your womb that you need to access. But if you're staying in your head trying to stop the overthinking, think about it as like, I'm not tapping into my potential because I'm at 10% of what's available to me right now. So we need to come back into our bodies, regulate our bodies, send the message to our mind, body, and soul that I am safe in this present moment through the experience of being in our bodies. And we sort of scan down. And then when you're at your womb and you're at your root chakra, so this is your hips and your reproductive organs and your gut as well, because our gut is our emotional brain. So when we're zooming down, like scanning down our body, there we are. We're using more than 50% of what is available to us to alleviate what's happening up here in the headspace, which is in very ethereal. It's not real. None of our thoughts are real. But by the experience of getting back into our body, we are coming back to the present moment, which is the only thing that is real. So I hope that's sort of resonating with you guys. That's the importance of that. And then I want to give a little disclaimer that usually when we're overthinking, it'll be paired with a lot of really uncomfortable emotions. So if you need some extra support coming back into a feeling state, which again is scanning down into our heart space and scanning down into all of our chakras, by the way, all the lower chakras. So we've got our solar plexus, our sacral, which is our creative expression, and our root chakra. When we're scanning back down into these spaces, if you feel like you need some support coming back into the present moment with that and feeling safe enough to be in a feeling state and into the present moment and into our bodies, which is where our true power is, I have an emotional alchemy course that's available on my website that is basically the perfect little quick and repeatable emotional reset practice to help you access all of this. So access to that will be in the show notes for this. So if you're a bit like, oh, okay, yes, getting back into my body, yeah, all right, but feeling a bit scared, or like, oh, what's under the surface? Like if you have a conscious or unconscious sort of resistance to coming back into your body, I very highly recommend getting my emotional alchemy course, because it's basically just a very user-friendly practice to get you back into your body and shifting emotions that feel unresolved, that are stuck in your body. It's not a scary process. Your resistance to it is actually the scary experience. And yeah, so check that out in my show notes if you feel like you need an extra loving hand to get back into your body. But that is how we are going to alleviate the experience of overthinking, because that's not where, so if we, again, another analogy for you, that the overthinking is sort of like, it's a symptom of the experience of not feeling safe. So it's like you're putting a Band-Aid on a rash, but the rash isn't actually the problem. The rash is a symptom that there's something going on in your liver or your gut. Does that make sense? So you won't be able to alleviate the experience of overthinking through intellectualizing, through affirmations, through all that mindset work, because it's like trying to treat a physical symptom that is actually just giving an indication of something that's deeper that's going on, if that lands. So when you're overthinking, it's actually a symptom of something deeper going on. And the deeper thing that's going on is that you have detached from your body and you are sending, there's a message that is being sent from somewhere that you are not safe to be in this present moment or be in your body. So this is how we alleviate our overthinking. And how can you get back into your body? Like I said, there's my emotional alchemy course, which is like a nice, safe, juicy space to start shifting those emotions. And through that experience, you can become more, safe in your body. And how else can we do this? By practicing some compassion as well. Like I said, when I was sort of trying to fight fire with fire and intellectualize my thoughts to alleviate the experience of overthinking, I wasn't beating myself up for sort of like going down the wrong avenues. I have a lot of holistic tools available to me to come back into a space of alignment and empowerment. And like I said, you're not going to pick up the right tool straight away. But I practice loving self-compassion throughout that whole process of like, okay, all right, I'm still trying to figure this out. And basically, I think when you're coming into that space of loving compassion in the process of alleviating your overthinking, is just to remember, like the undertone of their loving compassion is that you are not a problem to solve, you are a mystery to witness. So if you can't alleviate your overthinking straight away, don't beat yourself up about it. Overthinking is not a sign that fundamentally you are wrong. It's just that something is out of alignment, and it is just calling for your attention and your focus to use the tools that are available to you to come back into alignment. And alignment feels really good. So yeah, that's the underlying tone of self-compassion, which will help you get back into feeling safe and feeling present in your body, is because you're not rejecting yourself. You are understanding, I am not a problem to solve. I am a mystery to witness. And getting goosebumps as I say that. That shift is just such an easy way to come back into a space of self-compassion, because rejecting yourself and coming into a space of like self-deprecating or loathing or numbing yourself is going to be pushing you further away from feeling safe to be you, you know? And another really surefire way to come back into your body and alleviate overthinking is movement. And it doesn't need to be going to a gym class and getting really sweaty and moving weights. If that's your jam, fuck yeah. But if you're not really, well versed in moving your body, don't overthink it. I'm just laughing because this episode is about overthinking, and you probably already are, but just don't overthink it, babe. So much easier said than done, but just get out there. Go for a walk, like go and get some fresh air, go and get some sunshine. So you're getting all these extra holistic things, like as in sunshine, which is vitamin D, which improves your mood, and you're getting fresh air, which is, obviously fresh air in your lungs, which is great for, for revitalizing and bringing vitality into your body. So it doesn't need to be like this fucking gnarly F45 class if that's not your jam. Just move your body in whichever way feels intuitive. Ask your body, how do you want to move? It could be having a boogie in your lounge room. And if you're feeling self-conscious about that, close all your windows, close all your curtains and have a boogie. Like, it doesn't need to be a big thing, but moving your body in a non-linear way can also alleviate overthinking. And this is coming back to that reminder that you cannot solve a problem from the same energy that you created the problem. So if you're like, no, but I can't stop and have a boogie right now because I need to solve this problem, or I need to whatever, the solution will not come to you from this dysregulated energy of feeling unsafe and playing out a horror film of overthinking thoughts, excessive thoughts in your mind. So you might be here like, no, I don't have time for a walk or F45 or having a boogie in my kitchen. Yes, you do. Because anything that you're doing right now is unconstructive. You need to tap out from the overthinking, get back into your body, and I freaking promise you that those solutions will come through. They might come through instantly. They might come through after just having a nap. Whatever you need to do to get there, but just remember that you're not going to find the solutions or alleviate the overthinking by just fighting fire with fire. So if you've got that thought process of like, I don't have time to have a boogie, yes, you do. Yes, 100% you do. I do. I have done this time and time again where I've just been like, oh shit, that's right, I need to do this. And it feels counterintuitive to that part of you that is really anxious right now, but it is the best thing. It is like the way to quantum leap to the alignment and to the solution and to the better version of yourself. So yeah, non-linear movement can be really important. Playful movement, it could just be going down to the beach and having a little frolic in the waves and catching some shoreys and jumping up and down and fluttering around in the water, or go and jump in the pool and do some laps, etc. Like, I don't need to keep giving you options for how to move your body, but just don't compare yourself to what everyone else is doing and just do what feels good for you. Extra bonus points to create safety and connection to your body if you're moving your body in a way that you used to when you were a child, because that also becomes a bit of inner child healing and inner child work, which is, again, another reason why we can sort of dissociate from our bodies and go into this state of overthinking, is because we need to do some inner healing, inner child healing. And that is also something that can be you can support yourself through with my emotional alchemy course. It's a nice way to sort of get that emotional reset and reconnect with your inner child. So an example for me of moving my body in a way that I used to when I was a child is that I roller skate, and it is so fun. It is so flowy, and it just taps me back into this version of Zoz that, I've ice skated, I've rollerbladed, I've roller skated, like just that experience of flowing on a set of wheels, or I suppose like the ice rink skates or whatever they're called. But just basically it taps me back into this version of myself that felt free, carefree, that felt playful. And it boosts me back into a state of presence and safety in my body. It's just so potent, guys. So if you used to climb trees when you were a kid, maybe you should go and climb a tree now. You know, it's about getting back to that connected space within your body. Like I said, it doesn't have to be linear movement, just playful, happy movement. As if you're a woman, dancing is really beautiful as well. It's shifting a lot of that stagnant energy that is stuck in your root chakra as well. Literally, as I'm sitting here recording this, I'm like rotating my hips because like I'm like, oh yes, I can feel that shift of energy because it gets really stagnant in your root chakra. Because as I mentioned, your root chakra is your experience of feeling safe in this 3D reality. So coming back to any hip movements. Oh, and I suppose that's a good tangent to the next point, is that if all of these movements that I have described to you aren't really resonating with you, start with something really simple like somatic work. Jump on YouTube. There are so many free YouTube videos out there of these gorgeous facilitators and practitioners providing you with like a 10-minute video on how to come back into a regulated state through somatic work. So sometimes it's just like hip rotation, sometimes it's some gentle shaking. And I got into somatic work last year and it has been absolutely life-changing, because when you realize that the root cause of not feeling in your body and overthinking and feeling anxious and worrying about the future is all just because you're looking for danger, because you don't feel safe, then when you come back to the root cause through somatic work and feeling safe and present in your body now, it is a game changer. And like I said, I promise you that the solutions and just like less thinking will come along, less toxic thoughts will come into your mind, and the solutions that you're looking for will pop in. That's what will replace it, you know? So get into some somatic work if that aligns with you. That's a really beautiful practice as well. Is there any other ways to get into your body that I can think of? Oh, and I know it might be hard to have a nap straight away, but if you can lay down and have a nap, that's also a nice way to feel safe in your body, because if you're physically exhausted from the overthinking, just allow yourself to have a nap. But maybe you might need to move your body first to sort of shift that, like alleviate a little bit of that pressure, of that anxiety and that pressure, and then have a nap and have a reset. Because once you're coming back into your body and out of the process of overthinking, there may be some physical exhaustion that you experience as you're sort of integrating that shift. So if you're feeling physically exhausted as you're leaning into this process of alleviating your overthinking, that's completely okay as well. It's about remembering there's no right or wrong with yourself. You're just experiencing the mystery of yourself, and you don't need to overanalyze why you're feeling tired. Just allow your body that rest. Because if you've been living in this dysregulated state for however long you have, when you're coming back into that regulated state, you might be met with some physical exhaustion, and that is totally okay. And I promise you that it's only a temporary experience. So yeah, that's really exciting as well. And one more thing I want to mention, which I haven't ever really mentioned on public platforms, but I like to step out of my comfort zone because this has been incredibly potent for me, is the practice of self-pleasure. So sitting with yourself, feeling your body, just pleasuring yourself is such a surefire way to get back into your body. And I know it feels taboo for me to talk about, but there's obviously so many other women out there that are talking more loudly and proudly about sex and self-pleasure. So I said self-pleasure because if you're feeling unsafe, then you might need to, the experience of solitude and learning to self-soothe through self-pleasure is so cathartic. But if you have a loving, safe partner that you want to connect with, maybe you can speak to them about, hey, I would really like to have some, conscious love making with you, because it is a surefire way to feel safe in your body. But giving a disclaimer for that, if you don't have a safe and loving partner, then don't jump into bed with them right now. It's like, come back to that self-pleasure place, because that's where you can get to know yourself and foster a sense of safety within your body. And the more that I dive into and committing to my self-pleasure practice, which by the way releases all of the good, oxytocin, serotonin, it's like a pressure valve is being released in myself. And, we can feel really a lot of shame about self-pleasure. We can feel, dirty about it. Like there's just so many horrible narratives out there, but it is healing my body in ways that I seriously can't express right now. And it also helps you realize that you can heal and shift these limiting stories and these repressed emotions and everything without needing to know the root story of the limiting belief. Through my practice of self-pleasure, and I have the lucky experience to have a safe person to connect with and make love with, so with him and with myself, I am shifting mountains of energy and mountains of fear and wounds and everything. But I don't need to get into the nitty gritty and like journal like this is the root cause of why I'm overthinking this thing. I'm just getting back into the practice of loving and celebrating the ability for my body to feel pleasure, and it is doing the healing work for me, and it is helping me snap out of experiences of overthinking. So that's like a fun one, guys. And that's the first time, like I said, I've spoken about it on a public platform, but it has been so helpful for me. And if you're feeling like resistance or discomfort about me talking about that, then that's an indication to go on your deconditioning journey around that. Because why would we be put on this planet to feel all of this pleasure and it be a bad thing? Do you know what I mean? So that's like societal conditioning. There can be religious implications. There can be cultural things. There can be some sexual trauma that you've gone through, you need to work through. But oh my God, self-pleasure is such a surefire way to get back into your body and start regulating your nervous system. So there are the tips that I have for you guys. I hope that this is inspiring you and supporting you to commit to the process of alleviating your overthinking, because it can feel so scary and so anxiety ridden and so disempowering. But I hope this episode has given you the tips that you need to realize that it is just an experience. You can walk out of this cinema at any time and start feeling safe in your body and the present moment, because it is the absolute solution that you've been probably looking for a long time. Okay, guys, if you felt inspired or resonated with this episode, could you please subscribe to the Oasis State podcast? It really helps me get out there and finding a larger audience of women and people that just need more support in their empowerment and alignment journey. If you want to leave a comment or reach out to me about the episode, I would really appreciate that. Or if you just wanted to recommend the episode to a friend or someone that you think needs it, again, it really supports me on my mission to, empower as many women as possible to feel love and alignment, because it's our birthright, but we're just sort of trying to figure it out one step at a time. So I hope this episode has been a constructive step for you, and I'll see you on the next episode. Love you guys so much. Hey, beautiful soul. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Oasis State podcast. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with a friend. It means the world to me knowing that everyone who needs this medicine and magic can lovingly receive it. Also, I'd love to hear from you, so feel free to reach out via social media, my website, or email. Can't wait to connect, and until then, sending you heaps of love.